Awesome. We'll go ahead and get started. For those of you that have already joined, welcome. I really appreciate you all taking time today to learn more about how restaurant franchisees can benefit from modern accounts payable processes. I'm Anna Anderson, Director of Operations for OnePay at OneDataSource, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by my colleague, Kelly Moore, who's our Client Success Specialist with our team. Kelly, if you want to go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today.
Kelly, thanks for joining us. With respect to everybody's time, I won't be about 20 minutes today for our presentation. We will have time at the end for a live Q&A. So we do encourage, if you have got any questions at all during the presentation, if you want to drop those questions in that Q&A chat. We want you to walk away with as much value as possible. So if you've got any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to my email directly as well. Again, we're really excited to have you all here today, and we look forward to talking through the impacts that accounts payable automation can have on your business. So today we'll be covering the impact accounts payable solutions can have for multi-unit franchisees. So throughout the presentation today, I'll share accounts payables challenges and goals. We'll discuss how to evaluate AP solutions. Then we'll explore how you can maximize your payables. And then we'll look at a nuts and bolts business case for AP automation. And then finally, we'll close by answering your questions. Again, feel free to drop any of those questions that you may have in that Q&A chat below. Perfect. So quickly, I do want to share how OneDataSource is already helping multi-unit restaurant franchisees across the country. So OneDataSource was founded in 2002. And it's really our founder's need to solve his own challenges operating 70 stores across 3 brands, along with deep industry knowledge and relationships built over several decades that led him to found OneDataSource. And his peers loved the initial solution that he built so much that he went all in and started OneDataSource, which is comprised of both OnePay and OneView platforms. So with 14,000 plus stores and over 50 brands, we work with franchisees and operating groups that own anywhere from 5 up to around 1,000 stores. So our solutions really provide operational flexibility and the ability to operate or scale without the need to add significant headcount. Our team has deep restaurant expertise, and we really aim to be trusted consultative partners with all of our clients. Currently, we process roughly $10 billion in revenue through OneView and into our customers' accounting systems. With 20 years of experience collecting data from disparate systems, processing it, and unlocking its power, OneView allows for real-time decision-making and scalability. So first, what I want to do is offer more context for our conversation by describing the value of our solutions and how they fit within the technology stack and ecosystem. So both of our solutions, OnePay and OneView, help operators build and implement a comprehensive data strategy. So whether you're managing AP or moving data from disparate systems, our solutions allow for you to centralize and standardize your data to unlock its full potential. So you'll gain insight to make better decisions by using more accurate and timely data to guide those decisions. Second, they're going to allow for a flexible operational model. So your accounting or AP team, whether in-house or outsourced, they can really operate lean or scale easily. So the technology streamlines automated workflows, allowing for your finance folks, accountants, AP staff, to really take the most efficient approach to that administrative work. And then finally, our technology provides opportunities to improve profitability by reducing cost or earning revenues via rebates to help offset expenses. So we've got this deep automation experience, and everything that's communicated in this webinar comes from our firsthand experience working alongside operators to help them solve their challenges. All right, so you saw our AP automation solution, OnePay, in that previous slide that we were just looking at, but I want to go ahead and lay out the benefits and business case for AP automation in a moment. But I thought it'd first be helpful to look at this visual of what an end-to-end AP process looks like with an AP automation tool. So kind of like the life cycle of an invoice, if you want to look at it that way. First step being that invoice collection process. So whether you're getting things sent in directly from your vendor's email or through mail, you've got all of your different invoice collection methods there. Those invoices will come into the system, and that's where that automatic data capture step takes place. And then business validation and exceptions. Custom approval workflows is going to be that next step. Following your accounting system integration. So you've got a native integration with Intacct. And then the last piece being that payment processing piece. So understanding that end-to-end process and key milestones during that life cycle of an invoice, that's going to really allow us to have a clear 30,000-foot view. And now we can kind of get into the AP automation weeds a bit. So in that previous end-to-end AP workflow that you just saw, one of those key milestones around integrating your payables data into your ERP or accounting system of record. So I just quickly wanted to touch on the importance of integrations and how ours interfaces with Sage Intacct. So our AP automation solution, OnePay, has a bi-directional sync with Sage Intacct. And that really allows for seamless integration that allows your team to utilize robust function-specific technology as your system of action while ensuring data is moved accurately between your system of action and your system of record, such as Sage Intacct. So with the natively integrated technology, you can build your technology stack with a best-in-class mindset while minimizing the need for team members to have access to multiple systems. So as noted on the slide, our AP solution is going to send invoice data directly into your ERP system. And then invoices themselves, so the actual PDF, can also be viewed in Sage Intacct as well. And then finally, that integration sends vendor data from your system of record, Sage Intacct, to populate in your system of action, which is going to be your AP solution. So on the OnePay side, that way you can ensure that all of your vendor data is up to date. Perfect. So now that we've got a good grasp on end-to-end process, including a look at how payables is passed into Sage Intacct, I do want to just go over 3 core challenges that finance leaders and AP teams are facing today. So in a recent IOFM survey of controllers, payables topped the list as the most time-consuming, laborious, paper-intensive finance and administrative function. Really even ahead of activities such as accounts receivable, payroll, tax, and audit and reporting. So let's look at a few of those major challenges when you run into ineffective or let's say a less than ideal AP process. Our first one being hidden costs chip away at the margin. So point blank, the accounts payable process, which is a necessity for every business, creates hidden costs that really chip away at profit margins. So you've got manual processes that are time consuming and expensive, processing errors that require rework from your staff. Your data is not centralized, increasing time spent on back and forth communication. And you're spending on average $9.25 per invoice process when you could be spending closer to $2.25. Next one being day-to-day needs improvement. So beyond unnecessary costs, there is a need for better overall visibility, management, and facilitation of core AP tasks. So that's going to be things like invoice payments, approvals taking too long. So if you've got one or multiple approvers that need to approve an invoice, dealing with high percentage of exceptions, relying on paper within your process. So obviously at the end of the day, the goal is to get as much electronically generated as you can, cutting down on that paper process, and then issuing B2B payments manually. So the AP function cannot move forward to be strategic if it does not prioritize and minimize process-oriented aspects like invoice approvals and exceptions. And the last one here, evolving beyond the status quo. So there is a growing divide between forward-thinking finance teams who are embracing automation and digital payments and those that are still relying on manual processes and paper checks. Yet end-to-end AP automation is lagging. So as we move through this conversation, I want to help educate you on the value of AP automation, what you should be looking for when evaluating solutions, and then a tangible business case for it. I think that should cover all of our bases so that you can really make an informed decision should you want to pursue a standalone solution. Perfect. So the goal of accounts payable should be to become a self-sustaining engine of intelligence and operational prowess, ready to support strategic endeavors, while also serving as a source of financial knowledge that can really impact mission-critical corporate decision-making. So we want this function to become a strategic resource for your business. We see companies we work with do this over and over. So as you might expect, a primary means of achieving that goal is through the use of best-in-class technology. So automation addresses the biggest contributors to an often laborious and expensive process. So 3 kind of core goals I want to touch on. The first one being control and visibility. So you want invoices centralized and accessible 24/7, allowing for secure access and also enabling remote work. And AP automation features also allow you to control approval routing, payment timing based on your specific business or cash flow needs. Second one being operational flexibility. So streamlining your invoice processing, approval, and payment workflows is really going to allow you to operate lean, repurpose staff time to value-added initiatives, or scale easily when acquiring new units. And then overall bottom line improvement. So AP automation is well-rounded in its ability to support profitability goals, and you can do more with less, significantly reducing invoice lifecycle cost, eliminating fraud, while earning rebates on spend. So by shoring up operational inefficiencies and developing repeatable and scalable processes, and providing that deep and actionable intelligence to those key executives, AP can then become a group that's actually called upon to deliver strategic value. So when you're evaluating an AP solution, here are just some of the items to consider. First one being automatic invoice processing and creation. So can the system automatically, accurately, and with speed intake and create invoices from several intake methods? Next one, smart bulk uploads. Can the system handle bulk invoice upload processes? So whether you're getting invoices via email, EDI, and being able to separate the invoices based on location without manual categorization. Third one being EDI integration. So does that system support EDI feeds, allowing for the seamless flow of vendor invoices? We've got approval workflows. Does the system support custom condition-based approval workflows with escalations and accountability? Meaning maybe you need one approver, or maybe it's an invoice that needs up to 5 approvers, for example. Next one being cascading approval. So can the system facilitate cascading approval workflows that accommodate over 6 approvers for an invoice? So similar to what I just touched on, but having that custom approval workflow where you can have one or many approvers, and also giving visibility into the life cycle of that invoice and who has approved that invoice. Centralized executive approval summary. So is the system providing centralized oversight and daily notifications containing high-level summaries of invoices requiring approval? And then last 2 here, custom rules and permissions. So does the system support custom roles and permissions for different team members, as well as unlimited users with access that can be restricted or enabled as needed? And then last one, Intacct API integration. Is the system integrated with API or Intacct via API, automatically exporting that approved invoice data along with the actual invoice image itself, like we looked at a few slides ago? And then I wanted to quickly touch on the benefits of the standalone AP solution. So I've got 3 here: flexibility, functionality, and resource allocation. So with flexibility, that standalone AP solution is typically much less rigid than most all-in-one solutions. Functionality, standalone AP solutions include a more robust feature set that can cater to your unique needs. And then the last one, resource allocation. So Typically, standalone AP solutions dedicate support and development resources to solving AP challenges. So looking here at maximizing the value of your payables, kind of have this divided up into three sections. First one being implementing the ideal AP process. So AP is one of the processes in your business that you can both define ideal workflows with great specificity while also leveraging automation to complete that entire process. So we'll talk about some key AP metrics like automation and straight through processing benchmarks in a moment. And realistically, yes, you're not going to automate 100% of your invoices, but the percentage that you can automate while retaining a significant level of control and oversight is very high. From the invoice receipt and organization through data validation and approval to posting and payment, you can implement the least administratively burdensome and expensive process for your business without a lot of hassle. And then one final point here, by implementing the ideal process, you can run lean or scale with ease. So it's really going to provide incredible operational flexibility for you. Next one, level up your control and visibility. So you've leaned into the idea that there's an ideal way for your business and how it can run its AP process. But now we want to maximize the level of control and visibility. So for your modern AP process, you want role-based permissions and cloud-based access to keep stakeholders engaged and cost controlled. Whether it's deciding who has access to see what types of invoices or applying specific dollar thresholds for OpEx invoices to be automatically approved, you want to be able to tailor your process to your unique needs. And then you want the accountability for the people responsible for moving those invoices along. You want that visibility into the status of an invoice at any moment and who's responsible for approving it. And the other piece of visibility is the amount of data and intelligence that you can lean into with all of your invoice and payables data digitized. So control and visibility are huge areas of improvement when leaning into best-in-class AP technology. And then our last one here is let your payables pay you back. So whether you think AP is just another cost of doing business, it doesn't mean that the cost cannot be significantly reduced. So as I mentioned in an earlier slide, you could pay $9.25 to process a single invoice, or you could pay $2.25. So between reducing the time spent processing invoices and opportunities like earning rebates when you pay your bills, you can really offset your AP technology expenses and move your AP function closer to cost neutral than ever before. So I'm going to allow Kelly to hop back in and talk about the last mile of the AP process in a bit more detail.
Thank you so much, Anna. As Anna shared, there's a lot of value to getting that last mile of your AP process right. And that's where the payments piece comes into play. Both in my time managing AP for a large franchisee and in continuing to work with clients, removing paper from your process is so key to driving down invoice lifestyle costs. Excuse me, life cycle costs. As we've talked about here, that mindset shift from AP as a cost of doing business to being something you can more strategically utilize is an awesome opportunity. And managing payments correctly is an important piece of both the operational and profitability pictures. Say goodbye to checks, minimize staff labor, materials, lost time, postage, and overhead. This will drive down invoice-related expense significantly. Cultivate a positive back office. An automated payment process means that your team has the tools that will allow them to perform more meaningful or impactful work. Improving cash flow control. Digital doesn't mean that you pay faster, but that the process of actually making those payments is faster. You still have complete control when it comes to your payments, and those payments can take place according to your cash flow needs. manage risk more effectively. Digital payments are the most secure form of payments. You can minimize organizational risk by implementing a simple change. Implement a scalable process. This is a foundational benefit of leverage technology and automation. Simply, manual back office processes don't scale well. By taking your payments digital, you can more easily support growth. And lastly, monetizing vendor payments. With moving from a more check-based operation to digital payments, you'll now have the opportunity to earn revenue with paying with a V card, or as we call virtual cards. Again, the most secure way to make those vendor payments. ACH and checks are also available. With our software and service, we offer a free spend analysis to determine what your revenue opportunity may look like based on what vendors accept, which type of payment methods. And we also have a free supplier enrollment program once you are onboarded. With your permission, we reach out to vendors to enroll them in the V card or virtual card program. More and more businesses are accepting digital payments, and we want to be proactive around that trend so you can capture more value. Overall, the aim is to get vendors paying in the most advantageous way possible for your business. It's very simple as that. Kind of gonna walk through very quickly here what all you would need to get started with the new payments process. The first step would be to fill out a standard application, credit application. We have two forms. We have a paper form and we also have an online form available for that. Financial statements, unaudited or audited, may be required for the underwriting process. Of course, we would want to talk about a sample payment file. This is the instruction file that you upload to the payments portal to get those payments sent out to your vendors. Of course, we would need a vendor list with all the information, addresses, contact information, pay type, company logo. We attach logos to checks, remittance emails, everything that is being sent out through the payments portal. And of course, signatures for those checks. And we do have the capability of adding multiple signatures onto checks just for added security. Now I'm going to let Anna dive into best-in-class AP metrics.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
So quickly want to jump into key metrics that we keep an eye on related to the impact AP automation can make on your business. So the numbers that you're seeing, those numbers are represented are best-in-class benchmarks, and there's little reason that your business cannot achieve those same benchmarks. So looking at that first one, cost to process a single invoice. The average cost to process a single invoice, all inclusive, including labor, overhead, technology, etc. So you'll see there $225, which is 80% lower due to that technology adoption. Next, time to process. Best-in-class companies leverage automation and efficiency to improve processes related to invoice receipt, approval workflow, scheduling. And so the ability to master tactical financial operations is going to result in an average time to process an invoice that's about 73% faster due to that technology adoption. Then we've got straight through. So straight through or touchless processing is defined as an invoice being received and approved with the payment ready to be approved and scheduled without any manual intervention on the AP team side. So it's significantly cheaper and faster than any other invoice approval workflow process and results in huge operational and financial efficiencies. And our last one there, exception rate. So AP staff spend an inordinate amount of time correcting, managing invoice exceptions. which really significantly increases the cost and time to process those invoices. The AP function cannot move forward to be strategic if it does not prioritize and minimize those process-oriented aspects like invoice exceptions. So best-in-class companies spend less time hunting down information, filling in data gaps for invoices, and this allows for faster time to process rates, lower cost, and reduced exposure to payment risk. Then again, even more quickly to reinforce the point, if you aren't actively looking to maximize the value of your payables, you're leaving money on the table essentially. So as you'll see here in this chart, as your level of automation increases, that cost per invoice is going to come down. Perfect. So before we wrap up with the direct business case for AP automation and Q&A, I just wanted to highlight the value of AP automation for different roles within your finance and accounting functions. So first here we've got for your CFO. So it's the most secure and efficient accounts payable model. Supports in-office or remote access 24/7. Offset the AP expenses with V-card rebate program like Kelly was mentioning just a moment ago. And financial data is accurate and makes audits easy. For the controller side, quick access to invoice data anytime you need it. Create custom approvals and reporting that can be used for P&Ls. You can monitor spend and budget by cost center or by location. And you can really quickly report on spend and cash management. And from an accounting and AP manager perspective, you're really getting time back by using auto approvals. So that's a big piece of OnePay is the automation functionalities. You've got automatic reminders that are going out to your approvers, reminding them when they do have things that are ready for them to review and approve. You can really monitor efficiency based on real-time data. And then you've got full audit trail for quick dispute resolution as needed. Perfect. So before we wrap up, I want to provide kind of some tangible details on processing and building a business case for AP automation. So you'll need to do some preliminary internal work. You really want to analyze your process around things like how are invoices currently being received and captured? How are invoices being routed and approved? How are payments being made? And how payments are processed once they are made. So you're really identifying the exact problems that need to be addressed and the consequences of neglecting them. And then as you see here, we get into kind of a cost benefit analysis. So we can identify the cost savings provided by AP automation. So this table highlights a few key areas where we can assign tangible cost savings. This is a conservative look as well, because if you utilize payments to your advantage, you'll see a percentage of your spend come back in the form of rebates. So not only does this reduce your G&A expense, benefits like rebates can offset your AP technology costs pretty easily. So I mean, simply this is the best way forward for businesses that are serious about maximizing the value of their AP function. And as we move into the Q&A, I will mention if you would like any support evaluating your current situation, please do not hesitate to reach out. I know our email addresses will be included in this presentation. So any questions at all, we are always here to help. So that is all that we had for today. I'm happy now to take some time and answer any questions. Kelly and I are both here to answer questions. So if there is anything, if you want to drop those in that Q&A segment in the window, we'll take some of those questions before we end today's webinar. Real quick, I've got a question around approvals. Is there an ability to do multi-level approvals? Yes. So in OnePay, we have what we call dynamic approvals. And that is where we can configure your rules and apply logic so that invoices are routed to the appropriate approver or multiple approvers. So if you've got, say, CapEx type invoice that maybe 2 or 3 people need to take a look at, we can build that logic in so one or multiple users can approve that invoice. Perfect. And then Kelly, question here on payments. If you use payments, will you be able to see payments data in OnePay?
Yes, absolutely. As long as the invoice, excuse me, is processed through OnePay, the information will come back into OnePay. It will show the invoice status as approved and paid, along with the type of form of payment that was used for the invoice. Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. We'll give it just another minute to see if any other questions do come in. Like I mentioned, our email addresses are here on the screen. So any questions that you all do have, please do not hesitate to reach out and we can answer those. So if you think of anything after this webinar, please reach out. Perfect. Well, we will go ahead and end today's session. If there are any questions, like I said, please reach out, and we appreciate everybody's time today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.